Okay, guys, welcome to our B'ezrat Hashem, our new series made last until we finish on Sha'ar Gilgulim, Gates of the Reincarnation. Welcome, have a seat. Before we start, I'm gonna give a small introduction. First, I want to say that our shiur is L'Hatzlachat Kol HaRevakim, Rabbi Chai Ben Leah, Miriam, Eliyahu, Alexander, may they find their soulmates. With all the Torah that we're learning. We are in the congregation L'Shem over here, Thursday night. Sha'ar Gilgulim, Hagdama Aleph. So, small introduction to the introduction. Sha'ar Gilgulim, the gates of reincarnation, is supposed to be the last thing you learn. It's not supposed to be the first thing you learn. How was it set up? The Rav Chaim Vital, our author of our Kabbalistic literature, Luriane Kabbalah, the Rav Chaim Vital, he was the student of the Ari HaKadosh, and he learned by him for about a year and 10 months, a bit less than 2 years, and the Ari didn't finish teaching him everything he was supposed to teach him. And he died prematurely, the Ari. I wouldn't say he died prematurely. He died without teaching him everything because of the sinat chinam, or the fight that they had between the students. And also because the Rav Chaim Vital, he calls himself, that's already at the end, in Hagdama Lamed Chet, he's going to say he called himself a Chasid Shoteh. What's a Chasid Shoteh? He was a stupid Chasid. He thought by bringing more people to learn, he's doing a good thing. The Ari said, I didn't come to teach these people. I came to teach you. If you want to teach them later yourself, it's something else. But you're making me suffer over here. It's going to cause a damage. And eventually, this caused the death of the Ari HaKadosh, and at least in some way, according to what Rav Chaim Vital will say later on. When Rav Chaim Vital had the writings of the Ari told his students, you better guys not write anything, because you guys don't really understand what I'm saying. There were 12 students. And the Ari did that on purpose because the Tana de Eliyahu says to fix the sin of sinat chinam, we have to have ahavat chinam. How are we going to have Mashiach without ahavat chinam? The whole sin was sinat chinam. But the Tana de Eliyahu says, Eliyahu Navi says, I don't need all the Jews to have ahavat chinam. I just need one bet knesset. One bet knesset means what? One shul, a minyan. So the Ari HaKadosh start making a minyan. You guys will all be together in love with each other, and we'll bring Mashiach. He himself was famously said to Rav Chaim Vital that he hinted he was Nishmat Mashiach ben Yosef. And what happened was that obviously he passed away, and Rav Chaim Vital had the Ktavim. And then he forcefully took the other Ktavim, the literature, the writings, the notes of the other students. He forcefully took it from them. Some of them didn't give it, they hid it. Like Rav Yosef ben Tubul, he went down later on to Mitzrayim, and then some say he went to Europe. That's where the Ashkenazic Kabbalah stemmed from. The true Kabbalah stayed in Yerushalayim, in Israel, and then went to Syria. Now the crazy thing was, Rav Chaim Vital got a little paranoid. I wouldn't say paranoid, but that's the only word I could find right now. He got paranoid afterwards. He said, if that happened to my Rebbe, I don't want to see anything happen to me. So he decided not to teach this stuff in public. He had his group of students. He would give shiurim, like, how people give today, like little shiurim here and there, stuff like that, but to actually teach to a big group of people, he wouldn't do that. He was scared. One day, he got very sick, and he had a brother, Moshe, who Sha'ar Gilgulim says was on a higher level than him, but because of something he did in the last Gilgul, caused him to be on a less level than him now. So one person gave him money. His name was Yehoshua, Rabbi Yehoshua. He says to him, please, give me, while your brother is sick, take all the notes out of the vault. I'm gonna take, I think it was 300 or 400 sofrim, and each one is gonna copy a page. And that's what they did. But because they were copying so fast, they made mistakes. From here comes all the mistakes that we have in the text. Because the original text has no mistakes. This was his personal notes from the Ari HaKadosh. But because he didn't want to give it out to people, so they had to, while he was sick, they started writing, and then they were afraid he's going to wake up from his bed, from the hospital any day. From there came, and then all these texts went to Europe, here, there, and out of that came out all the Shibushim and Kabbalah. Then, when Rav Chaim Vital passed away, Rav Shmuel Vital decided to print his father's notes, the original ones. And he called them the Shmona Sha'arim, the 8 gates. Shar Gilgulim is the 8th gate. You guys understand what I'm saying? Why is it the 8th gate? If you read the Hagdama of the Etz Chaim of Rav Chaim Vital, if you guys get till the end, you will say Rav Chaim Vital says the whole point of this limud, one of the goals, if not the main goal, is to find out who you are. You have, and this is his lashon, Efo ata ne'echaz be'adam ha'elyon, where you're holding in the eternal Adam, in Shamayim, the Shi'ur Koma, known as the Esra Sefirot. Either it's Atzilut, the Bria, Yitzra, Asiyah. You have to know where you're holding. If you didn't get to that level, you still haven't reached the goal. Therefore, he placed Shara Gilgulim at the end, because if you already went through Etz Hayim, Shara Mitzvot, Shara Pesukim, Shara Ruach HaKodesh, suddenly you got Shara Gilgulim, you already have to be Maleh V'Gadush B'Chokhmah. You understand what I'm saying? You have to be already holding on a very high level. And people back then were. Back in the day when people used to learn this Chokhmah, they would never learn in the night. Either they would learn after Chatzot, or during the day, till Chatzot. But they would never learn in Mincha time or in Arabi time. They would say the Chitzonim are coming, the Klipot, we don't want the Klipot to touch our limut. They were very paranoid. Today, B'avonoteinu Arabim, we're so deep inside the Klipah that even if we learn in the middle of the night, nothing's going to happen to us. Understand? We're not afraid these days. Back in the day, Rav Chaim Vital, if he would walk outside in the middle of the night, the Shindals used to come to him. You understand? So, therefore, I don't want you guys to think, and whoever's going to listen to this shiur, that suddenly I'm learning Shar al Gilgulim, I'm going to find out my Gilgul. Because if you didn't follow the right procedure to get to Shar al Gilgulim, you will learn a lot, but you're not going to find out who your Gilgul is. You might find a little something about yourself. Could be, you might have Siyata Deshmaya. I don't know who's sitting over here and who's going to listen to this. But it's most probable that either this limud is going to cause you to go very deep into the sod, because you're going to start learning Shar Gilgulim. You're going to find out that it's not all stories, which is what people think that it is, because that's what they hear. Gates of reincarnation. Let's find out people's reincarnation. It's not that. You don't get to the stories until the last 2 chapters. You have 36 chapters till then. And it's basically the most confusing things you'll ever hear in your life. It's so confusing, it's Lahavdil Elef Haftalos, like learning calculus. Once Rav Moshe Armoni, I don't know if you guys ever heard of him, he's a Mekubal in Israel, they invited him to give a lecture on the Kavanot of Rosh Hashanah in a university. They want to learn Kabbalah, they know. They have you even could get a degree in Kabbalah in Tel Aviv University, Bar Ilan. So they invited him to give, and he's not a person to shy away from anything. He's a Baal Tshuva himself. He's not afraid of anything. So he went, they started giving Kavanot of the Rashash. He started teaching the Kavanot of the Rashash to Chilonim, like a whole auditorium. Afterwards, the dean told him this was the most, he never saw the class so silent in his life. They couldn't comprehend what he was saying. Like, chitzoniyut, the pnimiyut, and the second day is chitzoniyut, pnimiyut, chitzoniyut, and everything it's so broken down, it's like you're learning the cells of a human being's body. Now, Rabbi Yehuda Ptaya says that in our generation, we don't throw away anybody who wants to learn Torah Tasod. If you want to learn Kabbalah, our obligation is to let you come in. I can't tell you no, because this is the limud that's going to bring Mashiach. As Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said very famously, "B'chai chibura yifrekun Yisrael migaluta b'rachamei." With this limud, the Jews will leave the galut with mercy. And this limud, Rav Yehuda Ptaya said famously in his introduction to Etz HaChaim, what you're learning in 1 hour, a person who learned Gemara in 1 year hasn't achieved. With the birur nitzot that you're doing in 1 hour, it's unbelievable. This limud is that because you're the closest you're getting to Hashem. It's a mystical part of the Torah. This is what's getting you closer to Hashem. It's impressive, and it's the mass of nitzotzot that you're being mevarer at the moment that you're learning Kabbalah is unbelievable. And when you're learning with the Chabur, it's even more. You're picking up thousands and thousands of nitzotzot. It's unbelievable. But there's a danger to the person who's coming to learn. What's the danger? Not something's going to happen to him, chas v'shalom. We're not living in those kind of generations. We are the last nitzotzot, last nishamot. We've been inside the klipa for thousands of years. So what happens? If you're worthy of learning this, you're going to keep on coming. How do you know you're not worthy? You're going to give up. That's the sign that you're not worthy. Because the words of Rabbi Abtaya, and he said himself on himself, Rabbi Abtaya, when he was in his 20s, he was learning Etz Chaim, and then he dropped it. I don't know where he just dropped it. I don't want to learn it. I want to learn Halakha, Gemara. It wasn't until much later, it was like in his 40s, he decided to learn again. That's when it really opened up for him. So it's not so simple. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means you're not ready yet. Okay, but this limud, we had a shiur over here, the Torah is alive. Remember that shiur? So if the Torah is alive, this part of the Torah is like super alive. It will actually spit you out. I remember the first time I tried to teach this limud, it was 2 years ago, I think, in Rabbi Ofer's shul. We had a small chabura, also 5-6 guys. By the time I got to Shara Tikkun, I was left with one person. And him, at the end of the day, found a job at night. Look at how Satan works. He stopped coming to the shiur too. I had to cancel the shiur. Listen, I did my part. You guys want to learn? We said it. But you have to understand one thing. This limud it's not a joke. This limud is alive. And why is it so alive? Because the nitzotzot that you're amassing is in such a high level that it has like almost an immediate effect on your life. Almost an immediate effect. Now our limud today is called Shara Gilgulim, the gates of reincarnation. As you guys figure it out, it has to do with your previous life, who you are. What are you made out of? What does that mean, what am I made out of? Just like if you would go to a doctor, he would say that your skin, if I would take my skin, it's made out of 3 layers. The epidermis and every cell, there's different kinds of cells, and every cell is made out of, you have the mitochondria and the nucleus and all this kind of stuff. So, Shara Gilgulim is basically the study of the soul. It's the study of the soul. What is your soul made out of? Am I chesed? Am I gvura? Am I tiferet? Am I netzach? I need to know who I am. Because until I don't know who I really am, I don't have the right direction in my life. For example, Aharon HaKohen, he might have been a Kohen, but do you know he was originally supposed to be a Levi? And Moshe was a Levi, but he was originally supposed to be a Kohen. What happened? If you would learn Otzrot Chaim, which is one of the first Sha'arim, their souls, when they came out, they made a switch. Because they were coming out at a slant. So Moshe started off at the right, and he ended up where? As a Levi. And Aharon started as a Levi, and where did he end up? As a Kohen. You understand? So knowing how your neshama is made will cause you to know what your goal is in life. Once you know what your goal is in life, that's it. End of story. You know what to do. But obviously, to get to know that, you really have to be holding, right? You have to be holding on. You have to be like on border Ruach HaKodesh, border. And Zat Hashem, we're going to learn about it. Now, the Perush on Shara Gilgulim, there's only one Perush. This is the most famous Perush. All the other Perushim is based on this Perush called Bnei Aharon, Rabbi Shimon Agassi. His Yortzeit is coming up. He passed away the day before Tisha B'Av. He was such a big tzaddik. He said he was an Nitzotz of Moshe Rabbeinu. Even the Ben Ish Chai, he was an equal of the Ben Ish Chai. He was very humble. He had a stuttering problem, just like Moshe Rabbeinu. The Ari says in Sefer HaGilgulim, the last Mashiach will be Moshe, and Moshe will have a stuttering problem. So he had 3 sons. His oldest son was Aharon. His second son was, I think Meir. And the third son, I think, was Sason Chai, if I'm not mistaken. I think the second son I got wrong, but the first one was Aharon. When his second son was a young boy, he died. Person dying in the family, for a tzaddik especially. Okay, he has 2 other sons. Not long after the second son died, the third son dies. Sason Meir Chai, his name was, I think. Okay, but he had a lot of nachat from his oldest son, Aharon. And when he was 16 years old, he engaged him to a girl from a very prominent family. And they made the engagement, the marriage for for Purim, Adar. And this Aharon, his son, was a very big tzaddik. They said that he was 10 levels above every kid in his class. He was a genius. And when Rosh Chodesh Adar came, his son starts to get sick, his oldest son. And he took all the tzaddikim with him back then, tzaddikim. We've been talking 150 years ago only, in Baghdad. They went to the kever of, it's not keverim of Achronim, it's keverim of Ezra Sofer, Yecheskel Hanavi, Yoshua Kohen Gadol. They went to all their keverim, they cried, but by the time Purim came, on Purim itself, his oldest son dies, on the day of his wedding. It hit him so hard, people were becoming non-religious in Baghdad. Till the Ben Ish Chai said, enough is enough. He got up and he started giving a shiur in Shar Gilgulim to the masses. And he started to explain to them, what does it mean when a person has a Gilgul? Because not everybody believed in it till then. And he was very hurt. He never had consolation that his 3 sons died. And he wrote a book called Bnei Aharon. Why Bnei Aharon? Because his oldest son died on the day of his wedding. And he never had children. So he said that this book will be his children. Because the tzaddikim who never have kids, their chidushim and their talmidim, they're their children. So our primary perush will be the Bnei Aharon. And the Mekubalim say that if he would have written a perush on all the Etz HaChaim, they would have dropped all the other perushim and just learned his. He has such a clear clarity. It's unbelievable. The Shar Gilgulim starts at the top, at the beginning. At the moment a person is born. Let's look inside, everybody. Hagdama Aleph. Now the Shar Gilgulim is such a deep book. It doesn't have chapters. There's no prakim. It's Hagdamot. What's Hagdamot? Introductions. Because the more he reveals, the more questions you have. Okay, so there's 38, 37 Hagdamot, introductions. They're called introductions. Because the full book he never got from the Ari. He never got the full thing. Okay? So it's a very deep limud. So B'ezrat Hashem naseh v'natzliach. ונתחיל, he says, and we will begin, מה שכתב חז"ל, what the Chazal wrote in the Midrash Bereshit Rabbah, כי 5 שמות יש לנפש, there are 5 names to the nefesh. Okay, so sometimes we call our soul nefesh in a general way, sometimes we call it neshama, but we never call our souls, for example, ruach. We'll never call them ruach or chaya or yechida, either nefesh or neshama. That's like the general name, it's like your last name. But this nefesh, he says, has 5 names. And they're 5 distinct names, and they're 5 parts separate from one another. V'zeh sidram, this is their order. Mimata lemala, from below, from the last level, that means from the lowest level to the top. The lowest level of your neshama, of your soul, of your nefesh, is the nefesh. Your nefesh is the lowest level. That means everybody, he's going to write in a couple of sentences, you're born with a nefesh. Okay, it's the lowest level. It's not so far from what a goy is born from. A goy is born with a nefesh behemit, okay, from the klipa. We're born with a nefesh de kedusha. Okay, it's like a thin line separating the two. Okay, because the nefesh, we're going to learn later on, is very deep inside the klipa. That's why to get from nefesh to ruach is the hardest. Even to get from nefesh shebenefesh to ruach shebenefesh is the hardest. It's very hard. Rav Chaim Vital only reached his ruach shebenefesh when he was like 35. And he was Rav Chaim Vital. He learned from the Ari HaKadosh. So if we're in nefesh shebenefesh, we shouldn't kill ourselves. You understand? Rabbi Dabtai, forget about it. He was in his 60s. So after the nefesh comes the ruach. Neshama, chaya, yichida. Those are the 5 names of your soul. And they're 5 distinct levels. That means they have nothing to do with one another. So it's not like one person with 5 parts. It's 5 people. Okay? So I don't want you to think that you have one soul and it's split into 5 parts. No, you have 5 souls. And altogether, they make an organism called the neshama or the nefesh. We call it bichlalut in general. But it's really 5 chalukim. Rav Shimon Agatzi called them 5 chalukim. It's 5 distinct parts. Okay? Ve'en safek, and there is no doubt, ki lo nofel kriyat hashemot haniskar b'mikra bizdam, and there is, so the Rav Chaim Vital wants to tell us right at the start of the bat, it's not a coincidence that the Ari called them these names. Now the Ari, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, which he learned from Eliyahu and Avin, from all the neshamot that came to teach him. These names have a reason to them. There's no coincidence in Judaism. I mean, even our names, they say our parents had Ruach HaKodesh when they named us. It means, imagine that our actual souls have a specific name. Okay? Amnam, however, you should know, ki Adam atzmo, the man himself, who are ruchaniyut asher betoch haguf. You're not your body. You should know that you are the spirituality inside your body. It means whatever is making your body move, that is what's you. You're not your body. Big tzaddikim, they would never look at themselves in the mirror. I want to say a funny story with the Chazon Ish. He was once in a hotel for this convention. He gets off the elevator and he sees some rabbi, and he starts to shudder. He says, "Who's this big rabbi I just saw?" So the Talmid says, "Oh, that's you. You're looking at yourself in the mirror." He never looked at himself in the mirror. Chazon Ish. Because our body is just a body. Okay, we are our souls. Okay, it's a very important thing to know. I tell this to my students that I learn Osrat Chaim with. That the soul of the biggest Rasha is on a bigger level, according to the Ari Kadosh, than the body of the biggest Tzaddik. Do you understand what I just said? That's the rule in Kabbalah, because your soul is Ruchaniyut. No matter what you do to it, it's Ruchaniyut. I mean, and your body is just, it's earth. It's Gashmiyut, Shebetoch Gashmiyut. It's the most materialistic thing you can get. It's earth. Okay, so the soul of the biggest Rasha, the nefesh benefesh of a Rasha, is on a higher level than the tzaddik when he passes away at the age of 120. Even he was mikadesh oto betoch ha-kiddush. Nefesh is still a nefesh. Neshama is still a neshama. So the Ari HaKadosh continues. So you are the Rachaniyut betoch haguf, v'haguf hu levush ha'adam. The Rachaniyut, the guf is just in certain levush, in certain kind of clothing. Ve'einenu adam atzmo, it's not you. You are not your body. Your body is not you. You are the soul inside your body. Como shekatuv in Sefer Shemot, Perek Lamed, Pasuk Lamed Bet, al basar adam lo yisach. And Zohar Bereshit, so in the Zohar Bereshit gives a drush on this pasuk, al basar adam lo yisach. It teaches us that the basar adam is not really the adam. It's rather the inside, that whatever inside the adam. Okay, it's not. It's just a drasha. Venoda should be known. Ki adam mikasher kol dalet olamot abiyah. So now that he explained to you what the 5 parts of your soul is, now what does that have to do? Now obviously all you guys came to the shiur, you guys obviously know what the dalet olamot abiyah is. There's supposed to be 5. Correct. Just like there's 5 parts in the neshama, there's supposed to be 5 parts of your soul, and there is 5 parts to the soul. The 5 parts of the soul correspond to the 5 olamot, but we're only allowed to speak about 4 of them. Atzilut, which is keneged the chaya. Biri'ah, which is keneged the neshama. Ruach, which is keneged yitzira, and nefesh, which is keneged asiyah. Ak, which is the 5th olam, is keneged the yichida, the crown. No human being has ever reached yichida. Not even Moshe. Moshe reached chaya of atzilut, but he never reached yichida. Mashiach will be his chidush. He will reach yichida. That will be Mashiach, hopefully speedily in our days. So he says, you should know one thing: when you do mitzvot, when you do averot, depending on where you're standing in your olamot, what does that mean? Where you're standing, where you're up to in your job of the neshamot, you are able to either connect the olamot, or you're either chas shalom kabut tabi, make it seem like you're separating them. Of course, it's all an illusion. Okay, Hashem echad, u'shmo echad. Okay, v'lachen, therefore, behechrech. It is, how you say hechrech? It must be. Sheyu bo chalakim mikol ha'arba olamot. Since a person in his job in this world is to connect the 4 letters of Hashem's name, Havaya. The 4 letters of Hashem's name, Havaya, which is in essence Atzilut, Biri'ah, Yitzira, Asiyah. Therefore, a person has to have the ability to do that. I can't tell you to do a job that you cannot do. And what is that ability? That Hashem makes sure that your soul is composed of all 4 olamot. So let's review that for a second, guys. Okay? If I tell you to go to war, and I don't give you the necessary weapons to go to war with, then I'm going to send you on a suicide mission. So Hashem gives you one job. What's his job? You have to take Hashem's name and make it one. You have to let it be known, shown. Hashem's name is just another way of saying Atzilut B'Rei Tzasiyah. The 4 olamot, that Hashem reveals himself in them, and it's in his respective way that he needs to do it. The tzimtzumim. So, and whose job is to do that? It's your job. It's the human being's job. And how does he do that? With his weapon. And what is your weapon? Your neshama. So therefore your neshama has to be composed of all 4 olamot. Hashem first has to give you the knowledge how to deal with it. And what's that knowledge? Your 4 olamot. Okay? And your neshama, so what does that mean? Your nefesh will come from olam ha'asiyah. Your ruach will come from Yetzirah. Your neshama will come from where? Bria. Chaya from Atzilut. And Yichida, obviously nobody has ever reached that, only Mashiach will reach that. So as you get higher in the levels of Hashem, what does that mean that a person gets Ruach HaKodesh? Once he finishes Ruach, which is Yetzirah, that means he finishes all 5 parts of Yetzirah. We're going to learn there's 5 parts to each part. And there's 5 parts to each of those 5 parts. So in essence, there's 25 parts. And it goes even deeper. This is nothing, I'm telling you. When a person does a mitzvah, you have to connect all 4 olamot in that aspect that you're standing in right now. So you're in Asiyah, you got to connect all 4 olamot of Asiyah. And since you're born with a nefesh, you have the ability to do that. Now when you're going to get to Ruach, now you could connect Bichlalut Yitzirah with Asiyah. Okay, now, you have the potential to do that. That's why on Shabbat we have Kavanah, to accept the nefesh, to accept the Ruach. Because Shabbat, whether you like it or not, you're going on a higher level. It's not in your hands. Hashem gives you, how you say, like an easy pass. I once told my father, we were walking home from shul on Shabbat. I said to him, I have a chidush. He said, what's the chidush? I said to him like this. I said, if a person is in a nefilah, he fell in his spirituality, and he has no way of coming back. He feels like he's depressed, he did a lot of averot. He should start to be chozer b'tshuva from Shabbat. He said, why? Because on Shabbat, whether you like it or not, you're on a spiritual high. It's not up to you. Just what's the minus over here? You didn't do it. It's aruta dil ela. It's not aruta dil tata. So it might not last. Because Shabbat, whether you like it or not, boi kala, you got your nefesh. You say Baruch Hu, you got your ruach. I'm sorry, ruach. You get sukat shalom, first shalom, you got your neshama. Then the day comes, you get of the zachar. So you don't feel it. You do feel it, but you don't see it. Why? Because you're in an elevator. So my Rebbe says it. You're in an elevator without windows. If you would just have the eyes to open, if you know where the window is, you could open it. You would see. Ooh, you're flying up there. And mincha Shabbat, forget about it. You're reaching arich. Of course, that's the way of saying the partzuf of Keter. Okay? Let's go back over here. So you have the ability to connect all 4 olamot because your neshama is composed of all 4 olamot. ואלו החלקים, כל חלק מהם נקרא בשם אחד מן 5 שמות הנזכר, שהם נפש, רוח, נשמה יחידה, in short, נרנכי. Some people say נרנחי, I say the way my Rebbe says it, נרנחי. Okay? נרנחי, נרנחי, same thing. Okay? כמו שהתבהר. Now here's the touch, guys. I mean, Hashem is not going to make it easy. You're Jewish. But you have to understand, guys, that we're living in the last generation. We're in essence the first generation that will greet Mashiach. In essence. So that means we're very small neshamot, but the or is very big. You understand? You think 100 years ago there was Shara Gilgulims on every bookshelf? People had to pay, you know how much money to get a copy of this book? When the Ben Ish Chai got the Leshem Shvova Achlama from Rav Elyashev's grandfather, he wore his Bigdei Shabbat. Today, you go to gift world, you buy silver Leshem Shvova Achlama for $45. Why? As the generations go lower and lower, the orot get bigger, the shefa is coming down in big waves, but the neshamot, we cannot handle it, You cannot handle it. Absolutely. This is just another way of saying that the shefa is getting big. This is a shefa. Of course, the Satan also needs his share of it. We need a filter. Now, what happens in the other generation, Avraham Avinu, for example, the shefa that was coming down was small. Who knew Hashem? Echad meir, shtayim mishpacha. But when they figured it out, they were gedolei olam. Eliezer went from Arur to Baruch. We're going to learn about Eliezer, what kind of neshama he was. Ooh, unbelievable. It was unbelievable what he did. And he was an Eved, to the point where the Midrash says, Yafeh sichatan shel avdei Abba, yoter mi darchei avot. It's better to talk about the conversation of a slave than to talk about the conversations of our avot. That's what kind of level he got to. However, we have to use the shefa. If once you understand the shefa is really big right now, then you can go on very big heights. And that's what the Shar Gigulim is trying to open up to you. It's trying to open to you a gate. Now this gate is trying to help you understand who you are. You understand? If all your life you're doing chesed, when really your whole goal, your neshama is made of givurot, that means you're doing the wrong thing your whole life. Now you're doing mitzvot, but that's not who you are. You're not fulfilling. If you're supposed to be a lawyer and you really went to medical school, what does that mean? You messed up big time. That's exactly what happens over here. That's why we're learning Shar Gilui. We got to know what is our ye'ud, what is our koach in life. Listen, everything is. I'm not trying to say, okay. Now here's the kicker. The Ari says, don't think you're going to get this fast. You're not going to get this fast. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long time to get there. Velo berega echad. It's not going to happen in 1 second. Zoche lakachat kulam. That you're going to get all 5 parts. Forget about the 5th part nobody got. Rak fi zechuyotav. Only according to your merits. Ubitchilat notel chelek echad hagarua shebekulam. First, you're born with, he calls it garua. You know what the word garua means? The worst. It's the worst part, because it really is. I mean, it's kedusha. But since it's like the second you take gold out of the earth, it doesn't look like gold. What does it look like? It looks like any other rock. It's dirty, it's ugly. It takes a long time to fix it. So it's called garua, it's the worst. Shebekulam and all of them. V'hu hanikra nefesh. It's called a nefesh. And afterwards, if through your mitzvot and fixing of your averot, you do more zechuyot, you also get your ruach. As it's explained in a couple of places in Sefer Azor, and including in them is Parashat Vayechi, umehem beParashat Teruma, ubeprat bereish Parashat Mishpatim. Parashat Mishpatim in Sefer Azor is all about Gilgulim. That's all the sources of Shar Gilgulim is inside Sefer Mishpatim. And he says, he's going to quote a Zohar, Tachazeh, come and see, Barnash, Kad Itiliv Yavin Le Nefesh. So this is right here. This is a Mifurash source. When a person is born, what is he born with? A Nefesh. We're going to learn later on, just there shouldn't be a contradiction, there are some people in the last generations that could be born with a Ruach or a Neshama. It's not going to be rare. It's going to be semi-rare. Because since we have been so many times split, it could be the Nefashot are already done. You understand? But let's talk about the beginning of creation of the world right now we're talking about. Most people, first time they're coming to this world, almost all the time, 99.99%, they're born with a nefesh. Not just nefesh. Nefesh, sheba nefesh. Okay? Because nefesh is connected which olam? Asiya. And Asiya has arich abba ve'imazum. Has a shiur koma. Keter, arich, chokhmah, abba, bina, ima, vak, za, malchut, nuk. How many parts? 5. Okay? So to finish the shiur koma of Asiya, which is your nefesh, you have to start with nefesh sheba nefesh, which is basically saying nuk sheba Asiya. And then you have to get to ruach sheba nefesh, which is basically saying, in other words, za sheba Asiya. And then you get to your neshama, which is what? Ima da Asiya, then chokhmah da Asiya, abba da Asiya, which is really saying chaya. And then yichida da Asiya, which is arich da Asiya. Okay, so you must finish all 5 parts. Now we are all born most probably with a nefesh, sheba nefesh. Asiya, we got to start at the lowest point. It's the same thing in all things in Judaism. This is why one of the reasons I didn't say that this shiur is going to be in public. Why I didn't you say mefarsem oto. I didn't pause it because I know one thing. Anything that starts big, you end with one guy. Anything you start small, you start the Asiya, then you're going to go up. Only if you're lishma, hope. Now he says I have to teach you some of the derushim over here. Now, off the top of the bat, there's a big kasha over here. What's the kasha?
We said that since we're the last one, I mean, it came down so many times. Shouldn't we already pass Nefesh?
So that's what I said. Some people are born with Nefesh B'Nefesh. We're going to learn in Hakdama, Daled, and Zayin, there are 4 types of Neshamot. It all has to do with Adam HaRishon. What he did at that moment is we were all inside of him. Now, I'm just going to strengthen your question a bit. It's the question of Shimon, or the Bnei Aaron, right off the bat. It says there is a different Zohar that contradicts this. The other Zohar says when a person is born, he gets a nefesh. When he gets to the age of 13, you get a ruach. Bar mitzvah, you get your ruach. When you're 20 years old, when you're 20, which is the last age of chuppah. After that, Hashem curses, chas v'shalom, tipach atzmotav. Then what? You get your what? Neshama. So what do we see from that Zohar? A blatant contradiction, because that Zohar says, how do I get my niran, my neshama? What's the most important part? No, what's the most important thing? What's the age? Age, right? Age. It depends on how old I am. I'm born nefesh.
So one says age and one says...
So another part says no. The other Zohar says, in Hagdama, it says no, what's more important? The zechuyot. What mitzvot I did, what averot I fixed, right? So the answer is very simple, says R.Shimon Agassi. If you learn Hagdama Zayin, the Ari says there are two types of souls. There's really four. I'm just going to tell you two right now. One is called Neshama Chadasha, a new soul. That's the first time you're ever born. So you tell me, so the first time I'm born, that's called Neshama Chadasha, wrong. It has nothing to do with the first time you're being born. It all depends if you were present at the sin of Adam HaRishon. Okay? That's called Neshama Chadasha. So the word Chadash has to take a new meaning in your head right now. It doesn't mean first. It doesn't mean new. It doesn't mean the first time you were born. It means if you were absent. You got to change your lexicon a little bit. No, they weren't. We're going to learn there's neshamot called Ziyara Ila'ah. At the moment when Adam HaRishon was about to sin, a huge chunk of his neshamot vanished. They went up and they were a tzelem above his head. A huge chunk, not a small chunk, a huge chunk. Okay? Like a keta. Like we have a tzelem above our heads, lamed mem de tzelem, they became his lamed mem de tzelem. Okay? And then what happened was his nefesh, whatever was left in him, whatever he gave to Kain and Hevel, and whatever he kept for himself, is called neshamot yeshanot. Why they're called yeshanot? When they're born for the first time, it's as if they already lived a life inside Adam, Kain, and Hevel. You understand? Then there's a third level, that's the worst. At the time when he sinned, they didn't go up, they didn't stay in, but they fell deep inside the klipa. Guess who was in that category? I don't want to get you guys happy. David HaMelech, Moshe Rabbeinu, Avot HaOlam, Avraham Avinu. They were the last category. You understand? So don't think just because you're Neshama Ziyara Ila'ah that you have just the opposite. Hashem sees when a person is inside the klipa. David HaMelech, forget about it. He was inside the klipa for so long, the klipot said, we'll let him go for free. We know for sure he'll never come back. Obviously Hashem was be'ezro. You understand? But he had a very hard life. Why did he go through a very hard life? It was the first time he was born. Why did he go through such a hard life? Because he was so deep inside the klipa, he was always depressed. He always had marash chora. Half of the Tehillim was him singing to get himself out of the marash chora. Obviously it was all in Ruach HaKodesh. Okay? But David HaMelech, we're going to learn in Hagdama Yud Aleph Zayin, I think, that's R.Shimon Agassi. He was the only person to fix to the highest madarga in one Gilgul. And he was so deep inside the klipot. The klipot already said we're giving him off for free. Did you believe such a thing? It's unvalid. David HaMelech. That's why when you read Tehillim, what are you holding inside your hand? You're holding an atomic bomb, like one of those big bazookies. Yeah. So when a person is a neshama chadasha, what does that mean chadasha? He wasn't present in the sin of Adam HaRishon, and he's born with a nefesh, he's 13 years old, he gets a ruach. That's his plus. I understand? He gets a ruach, he's 20, he gets his neshama. He doesn't need to work so hard.
Sounds easy though.
But he could lose it too, if he messes up. Like who? Yeravam ben Navat. Yeravam ben Navat. I don't want to make it too interesting for you guys, because you have to understand that it's not as interesting. There's a lot of mechanics behind it. Yeravam ben Navat. If you don't say bracha, chona chaver hu leish mashchit. Who's that? Yeravam ben Navat. You know who he was? All of Chachmei Yisrael in his generation was next to him. Ki isbea sadeh. You know what isbea sadeh is? The grass of the field. He was used to darshan. It's a Sanhedrin. Kol Yisrael, Perek Yud Aleph. He used to darshan Torat Kohanim. I think 74 different ways. 70 different ways. It's a genius. Hashem comes to him. He says to him, let's me and you, his Rebbe was the Rebbe of Eliyahu Hanavi. Achiyah Shiloni. It was big stuff. Right? Big stuff. But yet, was his nefesh, ruach, and neshama, where did he go at the end? En lo chelek, la'olam haba. The opposite of David. He ended up with the worst neshama, and where did he get to? Tehillim. Am I right or wrong? Let's continue. But when you're born from Cain and Hevel, for example, Cain and Hevel, if you're from Cain and Hevel, which a lot of people are from Cain and Hevel, very little are from Neshamot Chadashot, a lot are from Cain and Hevel, and more than Cain and Hevel are Neshamot from the Klipot. That's why if you see an Ama'aret, you shouldn't feel bad. Why is he doing Aferot? Basically, once you're going to finish Shar Gilgulim, you're going to have a totally different look at Chilonim. You're not going to be angry at them anymore. Because you're going to feel like this is they're not, it's not their fault. It's just their nishamot were so deep inside the klipa that it's like they're not meant to be so big in a way.
So what's the point of them coming here?
But they don't know. They don't know. Am I right or wrong? There was one guy, Rav Nissim Peretz, if you guys remember who he is. He was a big Mikubal in Bnei Brak. You should Google him once in YouTube. Rav Nissim, the one who passed away 2-3 years ago, Rav Nissim Peretz. More, 4 years ago. 4 or 5 years ago. So, Rav Nissim Peretz, he had the Ruach HaKodesh. I wouldn't say it was like David HaMelech, but he had some kind of sort of Nevuah or Ruach HaKodesh, however you want to call it. Once he was driving past a construction site, and he sees a construction worker, a Chiloni. So he tells him, out of the blue, you want to come join a shiur on Kabbalah? He would go a step further. He would actually invite people. Half of Williamsburg, they learn Kabbalah because of him. You know, that's how. So he says, me, Kabbalah, I barely keep Shabbat, I smoke a cigarette, this, that. I'm a Chiloni. I mean, I'm Masorti, but he says, come. He used to come to the shiur. No matter how interesting it sounded, fall asleep. I once had a guy like that too. 2 people I had like that. I used to teach them Otzrot Chaim. The second I opened up the book, one line, it was like I would see the Etz HaChaim, like the Rabbi's words coming to life. Bam! His head used to fall. I used to close the book. Let's learn Shulchan Aruch. He was a lion. I told him after like 5 times. I'm like, listen, this isn't for you. Let's this is not for you. You know, another guy. I'm telling you, this thing is super alive. So this guy used to fall asleep a lot. The recent person never gave up on him. He used to make him 5-6 months in a row. Eventually, he started to get into it. Today, he has a call for Kabbalah in Yerushalayim. So you never know who you are. You understand what I'm saying? But you, as a learner of this, when you see a Chiloni, you're not supposed to hate him, chas v'shalom, or put him down. You're supposed to say that everybody has a Ye'ud, and you never know what his background is, what his Gilgul is, what his Neshama is made out of. Maybe he could only have a Nefesh. Some people can't have more than a Nefesh. All their 5 parts are from Asiyah. For example, Iyov, if you learn Shara Pesukim, Iyov, all of his Neshama came from where? Asiyah. That's why Rabbi Yochanan says in the Gemara that his story never existed. Why is it never existed? I mean, Iyov was one of the 24 books, never existed? Come on. So you have all the pshat and everything. The Ari says there's no pshat over here. It existed. But since Asiyah is the world of materialism, and materialism is an illusion, and since his neshama came from Asiyah, it's as if he never existed. Pashut, we don't need any pshetlach over here. He never existed, this, that. Ari says something, that's it. Ariyeki ishad mei lo yera. When the lion roars, Rav Yaakov Yosef used to say, you have 70 poskim. Shulchan Aruch, Rama, Maharsha, this, that, they all come. Suddenly the lion comes. The Ari comes, he gives one roar. What happens to all the poskim? They all start running away. Ariyeki ishad mei lo yera. When the lion roars, who's not going to be afraid? Ari is the Ari at the end of the day. He's the lion. It's not for nothing we call him Ari. Okay? So that's the such a power. He was, you know who he was? He was. Well, it's not like he was after Maran. He was living in his time. They were kudos. You know that, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Maran says don't say.
Say the bracha, and he says to say the bracha, we say the bracha. Could you imagine such a thing? And all the Sfaradim, until not long ago, I mean, for us, the Ari Kadosh was the Psak Halacha.
Till today in Hashem.
Until today, in many places, the Ari Kadosh is in Chutz La'aretz especially.
Where are the psakim?
Yeah? The Psakim from the Ari?
Yeah.
From Eliyahu and Avi.
Yeah, but no. I mean, it's here.
Oh yeah, everything's in the Tzachayim.
Sha'arim,
Everything.
Sha'arim.
There's a Shulchan Aruch of the Ari Kadosh. For example, let me give you guys an example. Forget, no, that's a machlok if the Ari really said that. There's a machlok, you're not allowed to eat anything that was cooked by a goy, right? What's it called? Bishul Yisrael. You gotta eat Bishul Yisrael. Not Bishul Akum, right? So how do I know it has to be Bishul Yisrael? If it goes on the table of kings, right? If it's served on the table of a king, today we say a hotel. Where do presidents and kings usually stay? Hotels. If they would serve it in a banquet hall in a hotel, that means it needs to be Bishul Yisrael. Like, for example, hummus. Does it have to be Bishul Yisrael? No. Hummus is not potato chips. Does it have to be Bishul Yisrael? Some people are machmir now. The Ari says not only table of kings, also table of sarim, of princes. It's a lower level. And the Sfaradim hold of this chumrah. Even if it's not put on the table of melachim, but it's put on the table of sarim, we also don't eat it if it's not Bishul Yisrael. Okay? The bracha in the morning. Hanoten leya'ef koach. Right? What does Maran say? He says not to say it. If you realize, we just learned it in the Shulchan Aruch Siman Memva. He skips that bracha. You have to be very keen to realize that. Ari says to say. Do we say it? We say it. Okay? There's many things. Okay? Now, do we do everything like the Ari Kadosh? We're not holding. Okay? We're just not holding. Okay? But Bezrat Hashem, you're going to get it. That's what Chassidut is. Hamid chased lifnei kono. You got to go the extra step. I want to so. Just because the Ari Kadosh is not alive here doesn't mean we can't be his chassid. When you learn the Torah of the tzaddik, you don't know, you're connecting to him mamash. Now when you're going to go to the Ari Kadosh's kever in Tzfat, you're going to know what you're doing when you're standing over there. Okay? It's a different level. Okay? So the chalukah between age and zchuyot is understood. It depends if you're neshama of Kain and Hevel or neshama chadasha. So he says over here, let's do one more paragraph. Inyan neran. So what is the neran? Nefesh ruach neshama. V'chalukah derabanan. It's a new word. You guys never seen that word before. Chalukah derabanan. Yeah, in the Gemara, yeah, but over here he's going to tell you what the chalukah derabanan has to do with you. Nidba'er inyanam be'orach b'shar dal shar pesukim. If you want to know exactly how the Nefesh ruach neshama and the chalukah derabanan works inside your body, you have to learn the 4th chapter in Shar Pesukim, because you have to come over here already knowing this. In the pasuk umeil katan ta'aselo imo, and also in the halachot of avelut in Shar Mitzvot. It's also very important to learn that Parashat Vayechi. Now, just in short, basically your neshama is made out of you have a neshama. You have the nar nechi, Nefesh ruach neshama, and on the top of the nar nechi you have a lavush. You have your neshama. Elokai neshama shenatalta bi tehora. No matter how many averot you do, you'll never hurt it. It's tahor.
So the tzelem is for the neshama and the chalukah derabanan?
No. The tzelem, you're already getting too deep what the tzelem is. You have a neshama. You have a nar nechi. Never neshama has the highest level. Ta'amim. No, ta'amim. And now, the neshama, when it goes inside your body, it's fire. If it goes straight inside your body can't exist. So God created a clothing to the soul. That's called chalukah derabanan. That's what you're fixing. That's what you're making. When you do averot, you're hurting the chalukah. When you're doing mitzvot and you're doing teshuvah, you're fixing the chalukah. And where do you get that from? From your parents. So the conception time is very important. Conception time is very important.
It's spiritual. Chalukah derabanan.
Yes.
It's not the body.
Nah, has nothing to do. Your goof is the last lavush. It's the kli already. It's the vessel. Chalukah derabanan is something spiritual.
Semi-spiritual.
The chalukah derabanan. Well, it's obviously less spiritual than an Arnachi. An Arnachi is totally,
It's connected to the body of some sort.
yeah, it's connected to the body,
So
yeah.
one side's
When a person passes away, that's part of the Chalot Arban. The small part always stays on the kever, right? Okay, we're going to end over here. Laila Tov. Questions, go ahead.
What is Klipat Noga? Where does it come
We have very far to do till we get to Klipat Noga, Adoni.
It's
You
not
understand?
the-
The Balatanya wrote but the Klipat Noga. You know, if you read the Balatanya, if you read his sources over there, yeah, it's a Hayim Sharnon, it's a Hayim Perik Chaf over there, it's a Hayim this, it's a Hayim that. Yeah, until we get to Klipat Noga, it's going to be in chapter Dalet and stuff like that. Okay, we'll get there, B'ezrat Hashem. But let's end with a Kedusha. May Hashem bless us with bracha, hatzlacha, yeshuot go, v'chol zmen meitav. May this tefillah be la hatzlachatenu, baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.